The Republican Party is in serious trouble. Perhaps if it doesn't right itself, it could even find itself extinct. The polling is in now, and the damage that it has done to itself with this government shutdown that I've called stupid all along is absolutely unbelievable. Asked who, in an NBC poll, asked who they blame for the shutdown. People say the Republicans 53, Obama and the Democrats 31. That's, of course, a 22-point margin. During the 1995-96 shutdowns with Clinton, in which I was involved, the people blamed the Republicans by 20 points. 22 points is a new record. Back then, 47 blamed the Republicans. Now, 53 blame the Republicans. The Republican Party's favorable-unfavorable rating, their unfavorability their favorability, those who approve of it, is 24%, a 12-point drop over the last 4 weeks. The Democrat approval rating is 37, a 5-point drop. But the Republican Party is absolutely crashing. Asked if people believe that the Republican Party puts its own agenda ahead of the needs of the country, by 2 to 1 people say that it does, whereas with Obama it's 50-50. The question is, how does the Republican Party repair itself, particularly in the middle of this crisis? We need to go back to the basics that I've been saying from the beginning. The debt limit fight is the right fight to wage. The Obamacare fight through the government shutdown is not the right fight to wage. You can roll back parts of Obamacare as part of cutting spending on the debt limit. But to close the government down and say, unless you repeal Obamacare, we're going to leave the government closed, is a serious, serious mistake. It may seem like a quibble, but the public overwhelmingly hates the idea of a government shutdown, just like they hate a police strike or a teacher's strike or a fireman's strike. On the other hand, a debt limit, they believe, is basically wrong. You shouldn't be borrowing money, and to insist on spending cuts before you raise the debt limit is perfectly appropriate. And if one of those spending cuts is a reduction in aspects of Obamacare, like getting rid of the death panels that we call them, the payment advisory boards, getting rid of the medical device tax, and perhaps postponing the individual mandate, the public would approve of that within the context of debt reduction. Now, to get from here to there is complicated because of all the mistakes the Republicans have made. They should not give Obama a free debt limit increase for 6 weeks, such as Boehner is now proposing. They should demand as a price for that either $70 billion in spending cuts, which is dollar for dollar the amount of increased debt that they're getting. It works out to about $7 billion a year, 2% of the budget. Not hard to find. Or they should demand that at the conclusion of the 6-week period, if there is no deal on increasing the debt limit, that Treasury Secretary Lew be instructed to guarantee that all tax revenues necessary are used to prevent a default by the United States. There's more than enough tax money to guarantee it, and he should be required to make that his top priority. He also should be required to make Social Security and military pay priorities. The stats are pretty simple. We get about $250 billion in tax revenues each month. We spend $25 billion on debt service. We spend $70 billion on Social Security. We spend $20 billion on military pay, total of about $110 billion out of $250. So we have plenty of tax money to fund Social Security and stuff like that. And in the event there's a cash flow problem that would normally be solved by long-term borrowing, you can easily work out a deal where the Fed lends the government the money simply on a cash flow basis and is then repaid out of tax revenues when the money comes in. The Republicans should, however, even as they insist on value returned for raising the debt limit, end the shutdown. This is killing the Republican Party. It's destroying it. And the longer they stay at it, the worse it's going to be. And if they don't get anything in return for the shutdown, but they do get something in return for the debt limit, that's okay. That's a reasonable deal. But the Republican Party has got to stop committing suicide. At this pace, we have an excellent chance of winning the Senate. But at this pace, we're not going to win the Senate. We might lose the House. We absolutely have got to take bold action to save this party. If you go to my website, dickmorris.com, there's a petition demanding that Boehner get value received for the 6-week extension of the debt limit in spending cuts or in the prioritization of use of tax revenue. Thanks a lot for watching.